2 clicks.
Quit trying to talk so you'll be the first one that everyone sees talking.
I stopped.
Yeah, well, hey, there's the intro. We're getting ready to go live on the air.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to get my headphones out.
Slacker.
That's not slacking. That's just forgetting.
It's the same thing. Mentally slacking.
Welcome into the Upstate Pulse. My name is Lonzo. It is a beautiful Saturday night. Ready to have some fun tonight? Of course you are. Why? Because you tuned into this program, and that's what we do. Before we get started with the whole thing, once Matthew gets situated over there, he's struggling. But are you good?
I'm good. I just gotta adjust so that I have a bad back, so I gotta adjust a little bit.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say tight underwear or something like that. But anyway, he has adjusted, so we're ready to go. Before we really get started, I want to apologize because there's going to be times where I may have to duck out for a second because I am sick. Yes, again, but this time it has to do with allergies. And what did you know? It's going to get up to like 80 by Thursday. So things are blooming and stuff. And
Phil was wrong.
yeah. So are you talking about
Puxatawny
Phil? Okay.
Yeah, I completely butchered that name.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. Puxatawny is a hard thing to say. So under the weather, I'm going to try to get my energy up. And if I get it up too much, I'm going to go into a coughing fit. But anyway, so we're going to have some fun tonight. I'm going to try to put all that aside, and I'll be sick afterwards.
So what you're saying is you just need to get trot.
I don't know what you just said, but it's a mental game. It is it is a thing where you put yourself in a frame of mind. I have to have this pep talk with some of the guys every once in a while before we start the show and say, yeah, I get all that's going on. Put that aside and let's have fun for 2 hours. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to have fun here. There are a lot of ways that you can check this show out. First of all, on the air at 106.3. Yeah, I forgot for a second. Okay, I'm on several stations. All right, quit looking at me that way, Matthew. On 106.3. Also, we are live on Facebook at the Upstate Pulse or at 106.3 WORD or at Lonzo Word. We are live on Twitter on 106.3 WORD and on Lonzo on Word. We are live on YouTube at 106.3 WORD and the Upstate Pulse. And we are live on Twitch. I do this once per show. We're live on Twitch at 106.3. No, we're not. We're live on Twitch at Upstate Pulse. Thank you. All right. So he's messing with me already. So and shout out to Viper Dave from Twitch who says, howdy y'all. And howdy back. So we're going to have a good show today. Today we are going to be talking about something that happened to me in the conference room and received a pop. Now, you guys may not know what a pop is, but a pop is something to describe an audience reaction that's used in wrestling. Speaking of wrestling, we are also going to go over Elimination Chamber, which happens tonight at 8 o'clock. Please don't spoil me because I'm going home to watch it. And you're going to get your first taste of the Upstate Pulse video game bracket because we got playing games for first time ever. So I've got 62 slots filled. We got 2 more slots to fill. And what we're going to do is we're going to do that live on the air a little bit each segment until we get it down to 2. And those 2 will take the last 2 spots in our 64 team bracket, which will start next week. Also, if you want to give us a text line is 71307. I'm not going to say shoot us a text because everyone else says that, and I don't know how you're shooting a text. Matthew, how do you shoot a text?
You just you take the data from your phone, you rip it out, you stick it into I don't know gun talk. I'm sorry.
I was hoping you would go like a musket.
Whatever, the bullet casing. That's what it's called. You stick it in a bullet casing and you fire it. Joke is ruined, but there we go. I got the word eventually.
I was just going to say it's about intent, but
okay.
If it's malicious, and a little bit saucy, then yeah, then you're firing it or you're shooting it.
It's taking
I don't know why I said saucy. I don't know what kind of text anybody else is sending.
All right, so the analogies are not working today. They absolutely are not. So
it's you know.
All right, shout out to T2 who's asking me what time he needs to be to work tomorrow, even though he knows I'm live on the air right now.
Does he know?
He wants to make sure that you're paying full attention to every avenue of information right now.
And it's also on the schedule that I sent out. There's that.
Maybe he knows that you're producing, so he's just trying to troll you a bit.
So do you think Tim is trying to get me to have to noob myself?
Bro.
Ooh.
Nah, he's not that conniving. He knows where I am. He sends me a text. And during the break, I will send him a text and tell him where to find the information that he's looking for. Unless, of course, he's listening on the air. We also are going to talk about Antman and Wasp Quantumania. We, as in the three of us, went to see it. And we will review that spoiler-free, which is really difficult. Next week, we actually will spoil, but this week we will not, because it just came out Thursday. And talk about that. We're going to talk a lot of video games aside from the bracket and the roundtable and so much more. Right now, let me tell you about our sponsor, Borderlands Comics and Games, because they got this really cool thing that they have in the store now that you can buy. And they're new if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, which we are. It's called Third Dimension Minis.
Mm-hmm.
And they look really cool. I had Matthew and Cameron both look at the website. What did you guys think about the figures?
I think they look really awesome. I am a big miniature guy whenever I do D&D, so I'm always looking out for some really cool, high quality stuff. And from what I can see from these on the website, I mean, there's some really awesome detail on these.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love them. I love this five-headed dragon one. It's just they've got down to the little scales and everything. Like, that's awesome.
They do a good job with that. They also have a really good spread as far as like their monsters, creatures, and like humanoids on there, including something I saw, which has inspired me to make something down the line. The keg golem. It's just a golem made out of kegs.
I gotta say also, as I'm scrolling down, this bullet mini, which if you don't know is basically like a land shark in deserts. This bullet mini is probably the best bullet mini I've ever seen.
Oh, it looks just like the art from the D&D.
It is actually awesome.
I think it is from the Monster Manual, right?
Yeah, it's from the Monster Manual.
Okay.
So if you want a chance to check those out, and you want to purchase some, you can go to Borderlands Comics and Games, which is at 410 South Pleasantburg Drive in Greenville. So check that out. Those are live in the store. You know what? I think I'm going to have to get engineering to check this mic out because it's weird. It goes in and out, and I don't like that. So
I can hear that now.
Yeah, my voice gets lost a little bit, and it's not me; it's the microphone. So I will be forced to project more, and that will force me to cough more.
Oh boy, projection! I don't know anything about projecting my voice.
No, you would not.
Neither do I.
So we've been talking about going to Dragon Con, and I said I would dress as Thundar the Barbarian, and just because of that, I'm going to be forced to talk like Thundar for the rest of the program. I hope not, because I don't know if my voice...
I was going to say, if you're struggling with some respiratory stuff from allergies, you definitely don't want to talk like that the whole show.
Yeah, I don't.
You forced it out. You forced it out by using Thundar.
You know what we're going to do? We are going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to break down Elimination Chamber, and then we're going to get started on the play-in parts of the brackets. You're listening to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD. Continuing live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Thanks for letting me know that, Trey. Because
I didn't notice anything audio-wise, but I also don't hear much from here. I kind of have to listen out of my.
Well, I'm watching my level and seeing drop out, and
yeah.
You're on the edge of spoiling there.
Oh boy, we got a bot in our Twitch channel. Incredible. Go ahead and ban that.
Yeah, the problem is I don't know how to do it on Twitch. You're logged in. You could do it.
I'm logged in as.
No, I mean, you should be able to do it from here. You can do it on everything else.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's what I'm saying. If you're
I
logged,
was gonna say,
if you're logged
I
in,
don't have admin privileges on Twitch for our channel.
no, but you have it on StreamYard, so you can.
Oh no, I don't.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, you
no.
just highlight it.
Disregard that.
Yeah,
Disregard that
disregard that.
message.
Disregard
Disregard
Don't
it
do that.
again.
Yeah, we're both
How do I-
pleased with it.
We do not condone that message.
I don't have any options for that. All I
Yeah,
have is-
there isn't one. On
Yeah, you have
for
to do it on
Twitch.
Twitch.
Yeah. I'm not,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah,
but it's okay. It's nothing bad. And now, if anyone wants to do that, now they're gonna go, I'm gonna do that. And then the worst thing that would happen is I just have to take us off Twitch, which I don't want to have to do. We get those on the Rob Brown show also.
Yep.
Isn't Rob Brown on the Rob Brown show?
He is. See, the problem is Viper. If I take anything, I'm out. I left. I went home after the show yesterday, and and took some medicine, went to sleep, and slept basically all day and all night. So, but I couldn't take anything today because the after effects will mess with me. I've got an hour and 40 minutes. I'll be all right. I am now responding to Tim to tell him to look at the schedule. So Tim's not here today because we had someone call in sick tomorrow, and Tim is having to run a basketball game tomorrow, and I didn't want him to have to work 14 days in a row. Because I am sometimes kind.
Benevolence happens on occasion.
That's a good point, Mark. Mark says, hey, guys, shout out to Kid Flaccid. I'd love to see Sammy win, but in WWE, no one wins in their hometown. All right, I'm going to do the thing that I said I was going to do. I'm going to turn my mic up and talk quieter because I'm overtaxing
that's
already,
what you
and I
should
know I
do.
am. Hey, man, you ain't the boss of me.
I'm not your boss. I'm your aide.
I appreciate it. I don't know. Having a new poster up means that we're getting Tim's crotch to Matthew's left. And I don't know. I don't know if that's a good
And
thing.
also, well, to his right and to his left is a killer teddy bear that's just
By the way, I want
dead-eyeing
to
him.
point out to Matthew's left is where the crotch is what I said.
That's my crotch.
No. Is it your crotch?
He's all right. There are crotches on both sides of him, and then there's like your eye peering through like the middle.
I'm so glad that we decided to have
Matthew.
this
All right,
discussion.
so see, I'm talking about as he looks from it, his left. That's the most prominent one right there.
What you're saying to mine?
Welcome back into the Upstate Pulse. Okay, so I got the volume up to where I can back off a little bit and not have to talk as loud. So I apologize if you're in your car and you bumped the wheel a little bit there because it was so loud. So I'm having to adjust here. You know, I'm not noobing myself for that. It's not my fault. It's your fault for having the radio up so loud. All right, so want to real quick. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I'm the only wrestling guy in the room right now. But tonight is Elimination Chamber, and it starts at 8 o'clock. Cannot wait to get home and watch, although I would love to watch from the beginning, but Peacock sucks. And I'm going to continue to say that because with Peacock, you can rewind back, but when the event ends, it stops. So, and then it's not available again for I don't know how long, but usually not until the next day. So if you go back to an event like this, which might last 3 to 4 hours, you rewind back to the beginning to start watching. The main event will be in the middle. It will stop. and you won't be able to find out what happened unless you go online and look. And so I've taken to just starting it when I get home and dealing with it then, because there's a recap at the end and I could just watch it from the beginning the next day, but I don't want to miss out on the main event, which could be eventful. All right, let's start out with the Elimination Chamber match for the United States Championship. Austin Theory, who's the current champ, is in there versus Seth Rollins versus Johnny Gargano versus Bronson Reed versus Damon Priest, also known as Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. And this should be a pretty good match. You've got all the usuals, the smaller guys, the guys who can move around real well, who can climb up inside the chamber on top of the pods, do all that kind of stuff. And then you've got Bronson Reed, who is as thick as Bluto from Popeye. So if you've ever seen Popeye, look up Bronson Reed. That's him in Australian form. And
he's Australian Bluto.
Yes, he is. And I don't know how he's getting in and out of the pod unless they make the pod bigger for him, which they might do. I think
that's a big fella in there.
Yes. Was not that great, but it was a valiant effort. So here's what I think happens in Elimination Chamber match. I think it's going to be a good match because they are always good. But I think Austin Theory comes out still the champion. All right, Elimination Chamber match for a Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. So whoever wins this match gets to go to WrestleMania to challenge the EST. And in that chamber I love it because Matthews is sitting over thinking I'm speaking a foreign language, I'm sure.
I'm sorry, I don't speak
wrestling. That's fine. I
do not speak we.
That's good. Okay, so Asuka versus Liv Morgan versus Nikki Cross versus Raquel Rodriguez versus
you speak A?
Natalia versus Carmella. So you look at this and you go, who would they put up against Bianca Belair? I got to go with Asuka. Asuka has went to her heel persona. The makeup is awesome. The mask is awesome.
Oh yeah, all of her heel makeup is always better.
And the mist is great, as Chris says on the stream. Go Asuka. So I think Asuka is going to win that. All right, mixed tag team match: Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. I don't care as long as ex-con Dom gets involved and causes something to go one way or another. But I'm going to go with Edge and Beth Phoenix to win. I kind of wish that Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley would win because I want Dom to get more shine. This dude gets more of a negative. I mean, they boo him every time he touches the mic. It's just perfect.
It took me a second to remember. All right, you're
talking about Dominic Mysterio. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Is he just referring to himself as Dom now?
He got put in jail for one day. So now
no, he's just Dom.
All his stuff is ex-con, and while I was on the inside, it's great. I mean, the writing is excellent. It really is. It's actually given him a character that people can latch onto and either love or hate. All right, Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. Again, this thing takes a new twist though, because last night on SmackDown, Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy showed up and beat up some people, and then Bray said that the winner between Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar would have to deal with him. So now we know who his next opponent is. And I'm going to say that Bobby Lashley wins. Again, even though Bobby Lashley's won a couple times. Undisputed WWE Universal Championship match, and this is the final one. Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn. This has been like a year-long storyline that finally they started, back in my day, there were storylines that lasted a long time and built up to a certain point where there had to be a match to, do whatever. And that's what this has done. And
nobody's feeling Noosey anymore.
I don't think it's over. And shout out to Sammy, and apologies again for my family member not allowing you to get out in traffic at SmackDown a couple of weeks ago.
It was a travesty.
That person does not regret it one bit. But so Sammy versus Roman, I would love to see Sammy win. And we've already got some comments on the stream about it. I just don't see how he does unless Jay shows up, which he can't unless Canada provides him with a special thing, because Jay and Jimmy can't go to the country because of the prior arrest for DUI. And so they made an excuse on the air saying that they just wanted them to stay home and watch it on TV. So they can't go into Canada. But it doesn't mean they can't get a special, I don't know, proviso or whatever it's called to get in there. But for now, they're not supposed to be there because of that.
They could always smuggle them past the Mounties.
Yeah, maybe. There used to be a Mountie wrestler a long time ago.
Was there?
Oh, it was great. It was great. It was as stupid as you think it is. It was great.
I'm gonna put you in a submission hold there, eh?
Oh yeah, he had all the phrases.
You're not getting out of here, hoser.
So I am going to go with, unfortunately, Roman Reigns retains. But we'll see. If Sammy wins, it'd be great. But Sammy has been on TV a bunch, including he's also been online a bunch, and he's mentioned the Montreal Screwjob a whole lot. Although that can work both ways. What if Roman Reigns gets screwed over and Sammy wins? The Montreal Screwjob, if you don't know, you're not a wrestling fan. So, I mean, that's really what it comes
Even
down
I
to.
know of the Montreal
Yes.
Screwjob.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
in the end, Brett screwed Brett, supposedly. So there you go. There is Elimination Chamber at 8:00. Please do not spoil me. I would appreciate it. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Did I mention how awesome you guys are? So you don't want to spoil me, right? You don't. So you're not going to. Okay, good, cool. We got it like that. Me and you. You know who I'm talking to. All of you. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about something that happened in the conference room, and then we're getting started on the playing games for the bracket. You're listening to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD, continuing live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Was that his catchphrase? The Mountie always gets his man?
I believe it was. He wasn't exactly a small guy, if I recall.
He was a large Mountie?
Yeah, well, I mean, the wrestlers. Some wrestlers are jacked. Every once in a while, you get fat guys that
Gotcha.
are successful because they're like 6'7".
So it's a large moose that served as his mount.
I'm trying to remember if it was during the 80s when the mount. I think it was. I think it might have been late 80s, early.
We
90s.
haven't done enough Canada bashing lately. We've kind of steered away from that.
I still love what Rob Brown from the Rob Brown Show calls Canada America's hat.
Yep.
It's a really big hat.
It's been years in the making, and now the most epic comic and game store is finally here. Borderlands Comics and Games, reimagined, bigger and better than before.
So I'm going to ask you, Matthew, something that's going to make me sound insane, but does that taste like mashed potatoes to you?
No?
Okay.
Yeah, you are insane.
Didn't taste like mashed potatoes to me either.
I think I just finally have lost it. There's just somewhere I finally lost what little sanity I had left. Squatch isn't Canadian.
What?
I'm referring to the stream. I'm not talking to my voices.
There have been sightings in Canada. Since we don't know. What the heck, man? What is wrong with you people?
What happened?
People getting really close to his car. I don't even have to look to know. That's the I'm angry that they're by my car sound.
No, because it's lazy people. We've seen how bad the driving is out there tonight. We've seen some really.
Oh yeah.
And
I saw it earlier today too.
You're right, Chris. He probably has dual citizenship. That is how that probably works.
He just shows it at the border and just goes.
Well, he is an interdimensional creature, so maybe.
Well, the Squatch actually can speak very fluent languages.
French, probably, because if he's in Canada.
Parlez-vous français? Je m'appelle Squatch.
Yeah, I don't know why he has. Maybe he doesn't have a deep voice. Maybe he's got a high pitched voice. We don't know.
I feel like Sasquatch is a good citizen and always shows up when he's called for jury duty.
Squat shall be impartial.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, Viper. It's just, I mean, it's
stupid.
no words describe how bad it is. There's a reason why there's so many deaths on South Carolina roads.
I feel like Helter Skelter just plays on a nonstop loop over the highways and byways and back roads.
And then there's Macon, Georgia, where I went to college, where everyone thinks they're literally the only person on the road.
Mm.
Did you know people sleep about a third of their lives? Why not make it comfortable? With almost 40 years of experience, Engineered Sleep gives you a better mattress for a better price. And all of that means a better
Oh my God, I hate tailgaters.
Sleep is veteran owned and
I hate
all designed for
tailgaters so much.
Visit the showroom in Greenville to speak with an expert.
Me too.
Delivery and free pickup.
Curse you,
Yeah.
tailgaters.
Plus, ask how you can get up to
Mhm.
$75 off your mattress and a free gift.
It's like I'm going 50 and a 40, and you're still right there, inches away. If I have to press the brakes for any reason, you are going to crash into me, and I'm going to be livid.
Welcome back into the Upstate Pulse. Alonzo here, along with Matthew and Cameron. T2 off today because I didn't want to have to work 13 days in a row. I'm regretting my choice a little bit, though. The fact that he's continuously texting me to ask what time he has to be here tomorrow, when he could have, asked me yesterday.
Or looked it up on the
could have texted me
schedule
yesterday.
that he has.
Well, he's saying he moved. That's one of the reasons why I let him off. He's moving into his new house, and he's saying the internet's not really good there.
Oh, he's got to get that set up right. Yeah.
But last I checked, he worked yesterday, and he knew about this since Thursday. So I mean, I'm just saying.
Checked.
You could have checked. Possibly could have checked. It isn't like you're just here for a little bit. You're here for a full shift. You could have looked. Anyway, speaking of work, a couple of days ago, we were asked. Rob Brown and I from the Rob Brown Show were asked to come downstairs and help out because some Clemson students were in to do kind of a shadowing thing with our general manager, which is really cool. And they wanted us to come down and record spec spots that they wrote. So a spec spot is a a prospective spot that you write for a client. Then the client looks at it, and if they approve it, then you actually record it and put it on the air, or they make edits and then they put it on the air. So he had the 4 students write commercials, and then we went in and recorded them. When we were in the conference room, one of our conference rooms, the general manager introduced us, and he introduced me, and he said he's on the Rob Brown Show, which is Monday through Friday 9 to 12 on 97.1 or 97.7, depending on where you are in Greenville or Spartanburg. Check it out. And said Lonzo also has a show on Saturday called the Upstate Pulse. And then he says, Lonzo, you tell him what the show's about. So you can look at it a couple of ways. Like maybe he doesn't get the show, or maybe he just wanted to give me a chance to
you know what? I'm just glad that they remembered.
Yeah, there's that. There absolutely is that he remembered.
You might have had to break
you were
up the
going into the
pamphlets
story,
again.
and I was expecting the end of this to be that they just completely didn't mention us.
So, but before I could explain the show, Rob Brown jumped in and explained the show.
Ooh.
So the thing is,
Did he do a good job?
No, of course he did. Of course, he's been on this show. So the thing is, did Rob steal my thunder, or did Rob jump in to go, see, I know what this show's about? And even though management may not know what this show, trust me, management knows the show exists because it has a sponsor, and that sponsor brings in money, and money is something that everyone notices.
Oh yeah.
So Rob talked about it's a pop culture show. When he did, the room was like, oh, really? Because these are all 20-somethings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then I proceeded to jump on that and explain it to him. So I got the conference room pop. I did, but I didn't get the pleasure of initiating the pop.
Well, here, you should look at it like this. Rob was your Paul Heyman.
He was your hype man.
To your Brock Lesnar or to your Roman Reigns.
That is true. And we are a team. We're a team all during the week. So
you keep hitting that.
Yeah, I do because it's
It's like you're moving
right
it
there.
further and further.
you know why I'm moving it further and further? So I don't hit it anymore. I mean, that's how you do that. And you know who didn't know I was doing that? Anyone listening or watching. They can't see that.
I'm sorry. I'm
It's-
in a mischievous mood
It's okay.
today.
It's okay. It's all right. So anyway, I thought that was cool. And also one of the guys wrote a spot. All their spots were good. One guy wrote a fairly comical spot about a truck dealership, and everyone recorded a version of it, including Rob Brown, who tried to do Sam Elliott, did it pretty good. And then they had me put together the spot, and it had coyotes howling in it and babies crying and gunshots and everything. And it was pretty good. And
So what kind of apocalypse is happening in this truck spot?
well, they're just selling trucks, man. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's just truck spots.
Why were there babies crying and coyotes howling?
have you ever seen a truck commercial?
I mean, yes.
Okay. Well, sometimes they do that. So think of Herc trying to get the couple to the hospital. That's a video game reference from Far Cry 5?
5, yeah.
5, from Far Cry 5. I knew Cameron would get that. That's what this commercial
Okay,
was.
okay, that perfectly encapsulates
Yes,
that for me.
it does more than you know. So there you go. So that was kind of cool. So I did look at it as kind of a team thing, and it was really cool. But at the same time, kind of stole my pop, you know.
Sometimes,
But he didn't know there'd be a pop, so he didn't jump in there to do that. He jumped in there to help me out. And you're right, it was kind of a 1-2 thing.
you got to look on the bright side of life.
Thank you. Do not sing that song.
I won't.
Um,
I know the limit there.
just because we don't want to get flagged for copyright or anything. All right, it is time for us to get started on this bracket. Now, I was going to do it one way, but I'm not going to because, well, I may change my mind in the next minute, just because I can do that.
You're as fickle as the wind.
I am. No, I've got "She's Like the Wind" from Patrick Swayze stuck in my head. She's like the wind of my dreams. Anyway, all right. So here's what we're going to do. We have 62 games picked for our field of 64. We need 2 more. Last week, I had all the guys throw a bunch of more games at me that I missed. I had to weed through those. Some of them, Matthew writes really small, and I put my glasses
because
on.
I had to fit so much.
Yeah,
in.
well, you know what? You could have turned it over. You could have turned the page over, dude. It was like blank on the back. I'm just saying.
I guess
saying.
I could have,
But
but that would have been too easy. for
this
you.
is an excuse. I think he just really writes that small. So I
I
had
do
to
write very small.
so I had to put my glasses on, and I had to get it like really close a couple times. But I think I got quite a few of his picks. There's no way they could all make it. And in the end, someone, maybe in this room, probably in this room, some people listening are going to get mad because their game didn't make the list. Well, sorry. I mean, that's just, we haven't done a bracket. This will be our 8th one. I haven't done a bracket yet where someone didn't get mad before we even got started because we didn't include something that they love on there. But that's how it goes. That is how it goes. So here's the deal. Starting next week, we're going to be doing the actual bracket. When we do it, if there's a tie in the room, we will give a countdown of 3, 2, 1. We will go to the text line, which is 71307, and the first person to text in, that will make that go through. That's only in case of a tie. Normally, we will have 4 people here, and when I know there's not a 4th person, I usually will have someone fill out another bracket so we have the 4th person. What it did this time, but that person didn't even remember when he's scheduled. So there's probably a good shot that he wouldn't remember to do this either.
By the way, a quick reminder for those of you who are going to text in, make sure that you're more Han than Greedo.
Yeah, if you didn't get that. So here's what I would do. And we're not doing it this way today, but if you hear us talking about 2 matchups, like our first matchup is Pong and Pikmin. So if we were doing Pong and Pikmin, which we are going to do here in a second, and if you're worried about there being a tie, the best thing to do is to go ahead and have your pick typed into your phone, have the text line ready to go, and just be ready to hit send right when the countdown ends.
I hope you've got the text line up because I don't.
I do.
Okay,
and do that, but we're not using it for that today because there's 3 of us. There's not going to be any ties. I've decided there's not going to be any ties this first time through.
Okay.
So it would be impossible to be a tie with 3 people. That's how that works.
What if there was I'm just kidding.
A ghost picker. I was going to have a ghost picker, but as usual, we're running out of time. And to have a 4th person, I was going to pick someone off stream, but if I did that, we're going to run out of even more time.
Yeah.
So we are going to start with the first matchup of Pong, which was suggested by a listener last week. And so I made sure it got on the list of the play-in. I know I'm the only one in this room who's ever played it. And since we had to explain what it was last week, if you weren't listening last week, the very first video game was Pong. All right, so the OG, the thing that started the craze, all that kind of stuff was Pong, which is basically tennis without a net. So you got a line on one side, a line on the other side, and a dot, and you're trying to hit it back and forth and get it past the other one with no net. So it's tennis without a net.
Yep. It's more like racquetball. It's like a 2-side racquetball, kind of is what I would relate it to more because of how it bounces and works with the actual walls of the game borders.
Well, so the thing is, if you get it past the other guy, you get the point. That's how Pong works. All right. The next game is Pikmin, and Matthew can explain what Pikmin is.
So Pikmin is a early 2000s adventure puzzle game where you crash land on an alien world and you have these little plant-based creatures known as Pikmin, and you collect and gather them together so that you can go out and collect the parts from your spaceship and escape the planet. And it's a super fun and charming little world thing because you're this tiny little guy, and when I say tiny, I mean like actually like really, really small, like a little.
It's also oddly
thing.
terrifying and just kind of morbid in a way because
in
you
a
lose
way,
so
I
many
guess.
Pikmin.
Yeah,
They
oh no,
all
yeah.
die horribly. They get
They will
eaten by
die for
terrible
you.
monsters.
Isn't it wonderful?
It's like you get to be your own like space tyrant.
All right,
over
so
plants.
So here's how this goes. We describe the games, then we go around the room and people say who they're voting for, and obviously the one with the most votes goes through. And this is a true democracy, and that's why some people don't like it. So, I mean, today it's not going to matter as much because I know I keep describing this or explaining this, but we need to get through it kind of quick because we're almost done with the first hour. I want to at least get a couple picks in. We're going to need to take a break in just a minute, but I want to get through a couple of picks first. All right, so Cameron, who you got, Pong or Pikmin?
You got the OG versus the Pikmin. I'm going to go with Pong.
Really?
All right, so
yeah, well, you know what I'm going for.
So Matthew is disappointed. All right, so Cameron's trying to play this game already. So there's a game there's a game that you play where you don't care about either game, but you know someone else in the room does, and so you go that way. And because of that, not really because of that, Pikmin is a better game. I am going to vote Pikmin. I thought about going Pong for the sentimental reason, but Pikmin is a much better game. And I know you can go through eras, and I know that Pong means more because
Pong is a historical piece for gaming.
Right. And I was actually there when that happened. I was there when Pikmin happened. I'm voting Pikmin strictly because how weird it was.
Oh yeah.
And it was just so weird. All right, the next matchup we have before we go to break is Golden Axe versus Cuphead. Cameron, what about Golden Axe?
I don't know anything about Golden Axe. This is one of those moments where you shouldn't have went to me.
Okay, Golden Axe is a game basically like with barbarians fighting with axes. And who doesn't like that? All right.
I do know about Cuphead, though.
Yeah, but I'm going to let Matthew explain Cuphead.
Oh, dang
because it was on his list. Tell us about Cuphead.
Cuphead is a game that came out a few years ago. And one of the really awesome things about Cuphead is the fact that every single bit of the graphics and animation in that game was classically animated on actual sheets of cell paper, like old cell animation was done. And so it is a platforming, arcade style sides. It's a boss rush kind of thing, where
side scroller is a good way to put it.
Side scroller, kind of, but I mean, it's not really. There is side scroller sections in the game too, but you have different types of guns that you shoot from your fingers. It's weapons, I should say. Really,
You could say like Metroidvania would probably be the better one.
Metroidvania is a somewhat of a similar way to put it, and it's got a few side scroller levels, but it's mostly a really difficult and really engaging and fun boss rush kind of thing, where you're going through these different old classic 30s and 40s inspired boss enemies. So like there's Popeye styled what's her name,
Olive oil.
Olive Oil. There's a boss inspired by that. There's a big vegetable garden thing. There's the actual devil is one of the
Yeah, I was
final
about to
bosses.
say you have to fight the actual devil for your soul.
All right, so let's vote on this. I'm going to go first. I was leaning towards one way, and then Matthew mentioned olive oil, and how could you go against olive oil? I mean, come on. She's beloved by everyone. She needed to eat a little bit more, but beloved by everyone, wanted by men everywhere, including Bluto and Popeye. So that comparison made me go with the barbarians and the axes. I'm going golden axe. Matthew, who do you got?
I'm going for Cuphead.
All right, Cameron.
I'm also going for Cuphead.
All right, so Cuphead goes through. All right, we are going to go ahead and take a break. Then we're going to come back and we're going to get through a couple more matchups. And our goal is to get this down to 2, and those 2 will make it into the field of 64. You are listening to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WRD, continuing live on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube.
And I agree with you, Viper. I see the animation with Cuphead as a big animation fan. It's a point in favor, but it's not the reason that the game is so good.
I gotta
it's just a really
say,
cool novelty thing about it too.
That the animation freaks me out.
Of
That's
Cuphead?
Yeah, that's the stuff of nightmares for me.
Well, yeah, it's the rubber
Just-
hose animation style.
just like was it Steamboat Willie in like the original Mickey Mouse, all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. That stuff is, which wasn't that in one
well,
of the
Popeye is
Kingdom
part
Hearts?
of that
Yeah,
that
that freaked
same
me out.
generation of animation. It's the rubber hose animation style.
Yeah, but there's something about that and Steamboat Willie and some of those that just really creep me out. I don't know why.
They are. I'll
Disney
admit-
goes
You know, it might be
goes a
the
lot more into that.
it might be the
than
frenetic
Popeye,
pace
to
or
be fair.
something with the I just don't know what it is, but it just I don't know.
Their arms are too wavy.
It's very nightmarish to me.
That's absolutely fair. I totally get that.
We're all gonna vote for our biases
Well,
here.
that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Excuse you, I'm a journalist. I can totally be unbiased about my nostalgia. Totally.
I'm sorry. Why are your pants smoking?
That's a good one.
You're not
Yeah.
a journalist on this show.
No, that's true.
Yeah, this is totally opinion on this one.
We are all about the entertainment or lack
Heck yeah.
thereof, depending on who's listening.
Exactly.
The following program does not express the opinions of WRD. That's why I'm giving this whole monologue.
Well, Viper, Mortal Kombat made the 62, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
So at least one of yours made it.
The new 62.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna die.
You better not.
I might lose my
You
voice.
still got to drive me home.
Yeah, I'm your ride home. I knew that's what you were going to say.
I feel like I wouldn't even get I wouldn't be able to drive the Camaro because your ghost would just leave it, would just like take the keys.
Why would you be leaving my dead body here?
Wouldn't be taking, I'd be taking your dead body with me.
No, that's what an ambulance is for.
How does that work? So in case you don't make it, leave the ambulance, let the ambulance get you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Matthew will take over in that case if I should keel over, because you will be emotionally,
And I did train on the board like for a week,
No, that's
like
not,
3
it's
months
not-
ago.
No,
so-
we're just talking about someone getting me to the hospital.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
because I'll be trying to save his life. I'll
I
say
care less
screw.
about what's on the air.
Yeah, I'll say screw the show and I'll try and save my father.
But the show must go on.
It would be going on with you.
If I was going to kill over, I'd reach over and find a best of something and put that on in the system and hit play before I killed over.
And the last thing
Oh,
that they would hear on the live stream is Matthew, get his legs.
Keith has arrived. Cameron is now Kojo.
Oh, I actually, you know what? I'm an idiot. I should have named the Phoenix Chicken Kojo. I
I
completely.
just thought about it. Gauntlet never made the list.
Oh yeah,
It's fun, but it's one of those.
Hope you took a few
classics-
out,
I
Keith.
could see it being in the play-ins, but I don't know that I would see it making it out of the play-ins.
Yeah. That's good to know, Keith. Hopefully, there's no probing in your future. They like to retaliate. that way.
Certain ways you shouldn't go there.
Shouldn't?
No,
We're on stream.
no. I mean probing. You should not go there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Are you just not getting the joke?
Maybe I'm being a little bit pedantic.
Talk to you a second time.
You learn something every day, like learning that, Matthew is a Monty Python fan.
Did you not know that I was a Monty Python fan?
I figured you
I've
were a
quoted
Monty
it like
Python
several
fan.
times.
Yeah, I don't really listen to anybody
Don't
but
make me
myself.
bring in the holy hand grenade of
Yeah.
Antioch. I have
Yeah.
that.
You
I
also,
don't have the instruction manual, so I don't know what to count down
you
to.
also have the rabbit.
I do have the rabbit.
Yes, that's it's kind of scary.
That's
Oh,
all.
let me tell you about this. So when my shelves were actually open, there was a light casting a shadow from the bunny, and all I saw was like this giant shadow of the rabbit, and the rabbit itself has like the fangs and stuff all out. So I see this massive rabbit head with fangs like right in front of me. I'm like, oh, and I look back, I just see that. I was like, okay, that's better.
Yeah.
It's still terrifying.
Trey on stream says he has coconuts. It's good to know.
Who's not a Python fan? I would agree, except we know Tim, and I don't think Tim has seen Monty Python, has he?
I don't know. I don't think you can make that assumption because there are some things you're like, there's
'cause
no way he'll
I'm
get
pretty
it.
sure we've made the joke, a Monty Python joke with him before, and he didn't get it. I think I could be remembering.
He
wrong,
might
though.
have not have been paying attention.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't
he
know.
He does that sometimes. I would think he might shock you. You never know. But the majority of the people who have ever been on this program are Monty Python fans. So that works, including the OGs. All right, we're going to continue with our play-in for video games, trying to get down to 2, and they will be added to our Field of 64, which starts next week. The next 2 games are coming up, including Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie. Cameron, describe Banjo-Kazooie.
All right, Banjo-Kazooie is one of those classic 3D
Platformers.
platformers. Thank you.
From
so-
Rare, the same company that did the Donkey Kong games.
I forget what systems were they on? Was it on?
Banjo-Kazooie came out on N64, but there was really only one, or I don't think there was there was a second Banjo-Kazooie game.
It's still one of those classics that like never got like a remake later on.
The
but-
commercials were great.
There was a game that came out like years later that was really bad, but
The commercials were great because it had some dude in the suit just walking around.
oh yeah.
It was pretty good. Okay, so anyway, what did you do in the game? How did you?
I think you're thinking of Crash Bandicoot.
No, actually, I think there was a Banjo that did that too.
Oh, okay.
We'll look it up later. I mean, or you can look it up now if you want. I mean, that's up to you. So anyway, what did you do in the game?
you keep coming to me with the ones I don't actually know.
All
that
right,
much of.
Matthew, what did you
You
do in the
jump
game?
around. You have a bird that's your friend.
I'm just trying.
You fight against pollution,
So
right? There's a guy.
I
who's
haven't
like,
actually played the original Banjo.
All right, so here's
but
what
I'm
this
aware
comes
of
down to.
some aspects of it.
I'm gonna make this as an example. So in the Field of 64, you may come to games that you've heard of, but you don't know how they're played. And then there's another game that you do know how they're played. Chances are you're going to pick that game, and chances are a matchup like that is going to happen.
oh God, are we in the tutorial?
We are. Banjo-Kazooie, everything's a lesson. Banjo-Kazooie versus Portal.
Oh, well, yeah, I've played Portal before.
All right, so Portal
You got to think with portals.
is a puzzle game basically where you open portals. You got to figure out the best way to open up portals to get to other rooms and things like that.
And also open up different portals to send your friends to their early graves.
When you
Well,
play
they're-
in co-op, yeah.
When you play in co-op. Because you might be having a bridge go across and you might just, click a button, and just watch them drop into electrified water.
All right. So Chris Evans and I had a deal where he kept trying to get me to play Portal. I finally did because he said, you're just going to love it when you start playing it. I did not.
Really?
And I don't know if it's because I'm contrarian or because I just wanted, he told me I would.
I think it's because you're contrarian.
No, I really just didn't like it. It was not what, how he described it with so much passion and so much, you're going
I
to
will
love
say
this
a
game.
lot of the passion for the Portal games is specifically for Portal 2. Portal 1 is fun, but it's really an introduction to the idea of the game. Portal 2 expands a lot and is just a super fun time. And also Cave Johnson.
All right. So I have played Banjo-Kazooie. I don't remember it that much, but I do know that I had a good time. You know what I do remember is I didn't like Portal. So I'm voting for Banjo-Kazooie. Cameron, who you got?
The cake is a lie.
I don't know
I'm
what that
going with
means.
Portal.
Okay.
That's Portal. I'm a little torn because Banjo and Kazooie is one of my good friends' favorite games of all time, and I'm aware of how good and how memorable it is, but I just don't have the experience with it. So as much as I think it deserves to make it, Portal is also a similarly equivalent game, and since I have the experience with it, I feel like I have to go with Portal.
Well, it's a question of
All right.
what is your favorite out of the two?
Oh yeah.
All right.
It's what you feel.
So Portal goes through. All right. I'm going to get one more matchup in before we finish out the hour. The first matchup or the first game is Total War. Cameron, what is Total War?
This one I do know. So Total War is a franchise of RTS games that span from historical to fantasy genres. A lot of their beginning stuff was medieval or the Roman Empire, all these different portions of history that you could play through, take over different lands, deal with economy and all that stuff, get into subterfuge and diplomacy. There was so much to the game, including the fun animations when your assassins end up failing and they end up getting stuck in a barrel. And the fantasy ones later on with Total War Warhammer, which have been absolutely phenomenal in my opinion.
All right. Matthew.
And it's going up against Dynasty Warriors, which is also a historical game series, mostly centered around historical Japan. It's another strategy-related game, but it's got a lot of action beat-em-up kind of elements, super massive armies that you're just cutting through. It's a fun time. I've played through some of the earlier games. I don't think they hold up super well, so I'm going to go towards Total War. But I like a lot of the spin-off games that they've had, partnering with some different Nintendo IPs.
All right, Cameron.
Total War.
And I will tell you, believe it or not, I'm also going with Total War because I've played it. I haven't played Dynasty Warriors. Played an earlier incarnation of Total War. I don't remember which one, but I did play it.
You did play a little bit of Warhammer too.
Yeah, I did. So that's what I'm going with. So our first half of the matchup is ready to go. So next round for the top half is Pikmin versus Cuphead, Portal versus Total War, and we are going to get to that soon. And right now, we're going to finish up this hour. I want to apologize again. I am feeling ill. I am doing my best. And so if I hand it off a bunch, it's because I'm having a coughing fit. You listen to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD, continuing live on the 106.3 and Upstate Pulse Facebook pages, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and on the text line at 71307.
By the way, Total War Warhammer 3 is available on Game Pass. And they've made sure that their major combined map is also free for anybody who has Total War Warhammer 3. Which is something that, well, the combined Mortal, or in this case, Immortal Empires map is something that they've never done before in other games where, like, you take the RTS maps that you had previously, and you essentially have 3 games combined into one at the end. There's just so much in there. It's probably the biggest thing that they've ever made. And I need to play it more, but I have so many other games to play. And
Yes, Keith. The new I've had the new poster up the last couple of weeks. It's just when there are 4 people up there, you can't see it.
You can see my sword.
You can. Tim is working on an outro, which will showcase a lot. I've already seen it, and it's looking good. It's not quite there yet, but I think everyone's going to like it when he finally gets it done. He and I recently, as in like a couple days ago, got new work computers, so we should be able to crank out some pretty cool stuff. I won't be doing that though. I'm gonna go home and go to bed after I watch Elimination Chamber. So in the next hour, we're going to continue this, but not right away. We got some other stuff to talk about first before we get to it. But I also wanted to give Matthew an example of what it's like. You throw in a 4th person in there too, talking about it, and that's why it takes so long to get through, especially the first round. And then when you start getting in the second round, you feel like you've described it enough, even though technically there may be someone tuning in who didn't hear it.
And you go from the describing to the actual argument.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. Mark, starting next week, we'll have the 4, and there will be ties next week. And then the texting game can begin. The game that most people on the air do not like, but I love.
Because you're a creature of chaos.
You can be chaotic within walls. If you know where your walls are, you can just go absolutely crazy.
When did you become Sheogorath is my question. Because you have that juxtaposition between Sheogorath and Jigalak. Because you're both chaos and order at the same time.
I would say birth.
So I just messaged my friend that I mentioned, Banjo and Kazooie is his favorite game of all time. And I said, so we're doing a best games of all time tournament on the Saturday radio show I'm on. And we just hit Banjo and Kazooie versus Portal. I'm sorry, man, but it had to be done. So I'm waiting for his response because he's streaming right now. So I'm waiting for his response.
Oh. You did that to break your friend's heart, didn't you?
Oh, of course I did. He's playing Mario Kart on stream right now. I got to throw him off.
There's an accident on the Rainbow Road today.
There are games within games within games, and I'm talking about mental games. I'm talking about trolling games, all those kind of things.
Oh, yeah.
Keith, he lost his shoes. And you know, without his shoes, he can't talk to anyone. I love it because no one in the room knows what we're talking about.
We're all in our 20s. We don't know what you're talking about.
Don't come in here at me with your taxes and
adulting.
Dadgum youngins.
That man used a fish for a weapon. I never noticed that before. Do you feel like fish could be effective weapons?
Fish?
Yeah.
Fish.
Especially bigger fishes.
Absolutely.
Do you think you could use an eel like as a whip?
No, but I think you can use most of them as a club.
You use snakes as a whip.
I had a nightmare about that. I am actually just.
You had a nightmare about snake whips?
Afraid of snakes, and I had a dream of some like indoor carnival thing. It was really weird, and then somebody had snake whips, and then I literally woke up in a cold sweat when they with a snake head lashing at my face. I just immediately woke up in a cold sweat.
Oh, I gotcha, man. Remind me later, and I can tell you about the dream I had about replacement Jimmy.
I just got a cold shiver thinking back about it. Like that's how bad my fear of snakes is. Mm-hmm.
My fear of snakes comes from a chance encounter while I was doing my business on the toilet when I was like 7.
Ooh,
and I just looked down and it's just staring at me. I'm like, This is the most vulnerable I'll ever be in my entire life.
We do live in the woods, so that's
Followed
kinda
by me yelling,
something.
"Mom!"
Oh, I'm not a sprinter. I'm just a. Ooh.
Also, keep in mind, I was
And
7.
I'm out. I leave. I physically remove myself. That's how I am.
I would just fight with catfish. I just hold the catfish up close to people's faces,
I'll just use the swordfish. As
so
a
their
sword.
whiskers would like sting them.
Let's club them down with flounders.
You just
On
got
guard.
beat by a
Pufferfish do
flounder.
poison damage.
Yeah.
You got destroyed by a flounder.
Oh, flounder! You
So
just-
embarrassed for you. Welcome into hour number 2 of the Upstate Pulse. Lonzo here, along with Matthew and Cameron. T2 has the night off, and he finally stopped texting.
Congratulations.
When I told him, dude, I'm on the air. I will tell you what you need to know after the show. And then he stopped, which is good. All right. In this hour, we are going to start off by talking a little Antman and Wasp. By the way, it will be spoiler free. Then we're going to continue with the bracket. We also, if we get to it, we're going to have an AI takeover. We're going to talk nerd roundtable and whatever else we can squeeze in. Let us start with Thursday night. The 3 of us were at the theater to see Antman and Wasp Quantumania. I will say the theater itself was not packed. I'm talking about the entire theater as far as cars goes, but it was pretty good for a Thursday night. People still forget, even though I try to tell them all the time that most big movies come out on Thursday.
I had that discussion with the guys I was waiting on the 3D glasses with.
Yeah, that's a totally different story, which we'll get to in just a second. So if you go on a Thursday night, you got a good shot at being able to see it with not a packed theater. Although like IMAX was full, so we couldn't really get in there. So we went to see it in 3D with about, I don't know, probably I'm gonna rough estimate like 15 other people.
There was more than that. There's probably like 20 or 30 people.
Okay, so but it wasn't a lot. It was to the point where we could move around pretty much wherever we wanted.
Which is kind of to be also expected in a 3D showing.
Yeah. So it was not bad. So what you do is you lose the experience of seeing it in a big crowd as far as reactions and stuff goes,
which I personally prefer.
But at the same time, there was no one loud in there talking in spots where you miss a punchline or something like that. Also, before we could go in, the people in the theater didn't realize that we needed 3D glasses, and they couldn't find them, and it took like 5 guys to try to find them.
They're just popping out of all sorts of
yeah,
different
it's just
doors.
a bunch of different. They're going everywhere. They could not find them, and
Cameron asked me afterwards, because I used to work at that theater back in college, about organization of everything, and I was like, yeah, it kind of depends on whether the general manager is going to show up in the near future or not. That tends to determine the organization.
Well, hopefully now, I mean, and for those who needed glasses and didn't get them, you're welcome. You have Cameron to thank for that.
Yes, you're welcome.
Cameron was down there looking mean to those guys.
I was not looking mean. I looked stern.
All right, yeah, stern and mean are basically the same thing.
All right, my stern is absolutely terrifying.
If your mom is being stern with you, you're in trouble. That looks mean to you as a kid. If your boss is being stern to you, you're in trouble. That looks
you're just
mean
scaring
to
a
you.
bunch of college kids.
Yeah,
I was not being mean to college kids. I was being, all jokes aside, I was being respectful. I was being nice about it. I was being understanding. I was doing all the things you should be. Because I know if I get upset, then people tend to scurry.
But here's what he didn't do. He did not walk away. He stood there in the same spot.
I did.
Yes. Which
look, that was a tactic.
Which would make you a little bit afraid if you're a young, skinny college kid or someone who's in high school working there, knowing that this older.
Why are you painting me like the bad guy?
Well, to be fair, coming from Cameron, he doesn't look much older than most college kids, so I don't think that hits as hard.
Yeah, I mean, I could do the whole Bushimi, hello, fellow kids, but yeah, I don't really look that old.
Yeah, they look scared to me. So anyway, it worked out. They found them finally. The manager's the one that found them, right?
Yes, I think he was the manager. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, they all look alike. So
They're
anyway,
all so young.
yes, and they all basically the same size, which is weird.
If they're wearing an actual suit, they're the manager. If they're not, then they're just a regular employee.
Okay, they
I
were
think it was just
regular. They were regular employees, but they all look like the same person. So it's just like if you lined them all up, they probably were the same height,
I'm glad we have insider
same-
knowledge.
You're
same
welcome.
everything. So anyway, we watched the movie. We're not going to spoil here, so don't worry about it. What we can do is give you a review, and before the review, I mean, whether we're going 4 out of 5 or whatever that is, stay for the entire movie. There are 2 post-credit scenes. Stay for the final scene. Well, both of them are good, but the final scene means a whole lot. So you definitely need to stay for that. And I know I've said it before, and it's been a joke, and people are thinking, okay, here's the difference. When I'm joking, when I'm saying stay for the final, I'm usually smiling. I'm not smiling now. I'm not joking. It is important for the MCU going forward. So you need to stay and watch the second one.
It is overall plot relevant.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
So so's the mid credit gives you scope. Mid credit gives you scope because they talk about how many of something is. The mid credit gave you an idea that they were not joking the entire time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so that will help you out there.
By the way, that is like straight out of a comic book panel.
Okay,
I
all right.
found out.
Let's stop
Yeah, I'm done.
so we don't spoil. So I will go first as far as my rating. I'm going to go 3.75 out of 5. I know I'm going some decimals here, but there's something missing. There's someone missing, and I can't tell you who or what it is until next week when we spoil it. But that someone in this movie would have made a big difference. Is this movie great? No. Is it good? Yes. It's a little bit less than what I expected. But if you go in thinking it's the next big thing, it's not. It's the next MCU movie in a line of movies. This is setting up a bunch of stuff to come. You already know that Kang is the big bad. This is introducing him to a movie crowd that may not have watched Loki. If you watch Loki, the series on Disney, then you know who Kang is. But they had to introduce him in movie form, thinking that maybe some people didn't watch Loki. If you watch Loki, you come into it, you already know who the big bad is. So that's my rating. Cameron, what's yours?
I tend to agree. I think I give it like a 3.5 or a 3.75. I think they should have made it a little bit longer. I think they had a lot of stuff that they kind of just crammed in and condensed.
So one thing I want to say with that specifically, near the beginning, like the first like 10 minutes of the movie felt like they just took out like a big chunk of like 5 or 6 minutes. It felt like they just took out when they first showed up, and it's no spoiler, they go into the quantum realm in the first 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And it felt like as soon as they showed up, there was like a 5-minute chunk of them exploring it just cut out, and they just go to the next plot points. And I'm like, I feel like something literally is completely missing here. Did you get that?
No, I felt the same.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying that it needed to be longer. It would have been, I feel like it would have been a great movie if they would have taken their time with it a little bit more. There are some other things I have a little bit of a problem with, but I can't talk about it until we get into spoiler territory.
Yeah.
All right. So what was your
I'm kind of saying similar with y'all, but I kind of felt a little lower on it. I'd give it more like a 2.5, maybe like right in the middle average. That's exactly what I expect from a Marvel movie at this point. It's just, did it entertain me enough? Sure. Is it anything worth writing home about? Not really. Kang was done pretty well, and Jonathan Majors did a fantastic job portraying him. He showed some pretty decent chops for it back in Loki, and now he got to go full force with it. Super fun time with watching him do that. Made him an awesome threat. But outside of that, it was just kind of whatever.
All right, I just gotta say, for the first time ever, we have someone on the show that makes my critiques not look so harsh. So I'm so glad Matthew's here, because everyone's like, how could you find something wrong with this? You know, my biggest complaint that I usually have is a CGI moment that I didn't like. Didn't have one of those. The CGI was awesome in this.
Oh, look, the quantum realm looked
Yes.
beautiful.
And they filmed this, my understanding, under the same thing that the Mandalorian used that all-encompassing thing, and I forget what it's called. They have a name to
Oh,
it.
Lord.
That's a green screen all around you that they actually put the where you're at, the planet or whatever, up on the screen, and the actors all say how much it helps them act because they actually can feel like they're in the place. So that's really cool. All right, so there is our spoiler-free review of Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania. Trey says, I binge watched Loki. I'm so glad I did. It was a good move because then you
Oh,
were
yeah.
familiar with the character. So if you were going
Not to mention,
The
I
volume.
think Loki is just a really good,
it was a good
solid
series.
time.
What was it called?
It's called The Volume.
The Volume. It's a new filming method made by Jon Favreau and those guys, and it's really cool. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna get back to the bracket because we need to crown two to the 64 before the show is over. Listen to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD. Continuing live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
So just to make sure I'm clear on this, whoever gets to like the final two are the actual final two that go in, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not crowning one. We're crowning two.
Gotcha.
And once we get through this first round, we're not going to have to describe what the games are anymore.
Yeah.
We're doing it in the same day, so we can just move through it and get to the final two.
Yep.
This is the first time we're doing a play-in, so I wouldn't say it's bumpy. It's not. The only thing that's bumpy is my voice.
Ugh. Also, I will say that there were the jokes that were in Ant-Man were I liked them. They were pretty good for the most part.
They were better than a lot of recent Marvel jokes, but I mean, it was still.
There's
Marvel
one
humor.
person in the thing that I could not stand. And we're going to talk about it next week.
Yeah, there was several spoiler things that I
No,
really want to talk
no,
about.
there's one. Yeah,
next week.
there's one actor that I did not like, and it's the way the role was written. I didn't like it.
I think I know what that role is, and I agree.
think that actor could. I mean, I think that brought it down some too. But that's about writing. It's not about anything else.
I think I know what you're talking about, and I agree. And it's a writing and a theme that doesn't ever show up again thing.
Hey, look, Loki just got his butt whipped. Yeah, the first Avengers is on TV right now. So.
That's what they don't know. It's okay if India does in China. That's fine. Let me tell you this. The biggest side left ever told us is one, they believe in climate change, and two, that they care about it. They do not. Every one of these climate policies results in more pollution, not less. They do not care about climate
More
change.
proof that I am the weekend.
I believe that Trey
all
understood
these,
what
all
you
these,
said.
all these commercials are ones that I put together.
50% of Americans are spending up to $500 more on
Love them or hate them, they're all me.
$250 extra on gas per month. This is moronic. See, they keep telling you that it's a transition, like it's going to get better. It's not going to get better. Not on this path.
We all
anyway.
gonna die.
How long are people expected
all
to
gonna
deal
die.
with this?
Rocks fall, everyone dies.
He might do that to us at some point.
My voice is held up so far. 40 minutes to go.
Crap, why am I the only one who was able to dodge the rocks?
Can I make it?
Of course, he'd make me do an athletics check just because.
If rocks are falling, I'd give you the choice of either meeting them head on with an athletics check or attempting to dodge with an acrobatics. I would ask for a dexterity saving throw, but if someone brought up, oh, can I try and break them or something with my strength? I'd be like, yeah, totally go for it.
Yeah, because it's about how you tackle the problem. You don't have to automatically dodge the rocks. You can try and punch the rocks.
Exactly. I don't care how stupid an idea is. I'm going to tell you that you can totally try and do that. There might be a chance that no matter what you roll, even on a nat 20, you just die for trying it. But
I'd use
you can
my-
totally do it.
I use my thunder thing, whatever that's called. What is it?
Thunderous Smite.
Thunder smite.
You know.
I'm gonna
Or
thunder
time
smite
stop.
the rocks. Yes.
Just walk away.
Call out thunder on you rocks.
It's the Upstate Pulse on 106.3 WOR.
Starting, I like this kid, Ma. Welcome back into the Upstate Pulse. Lonzo, Matthew, Cameron here.
The only thing we serve here is tongue. I feel like I could do the mom's role. You all right, Matthew?
I was not expecting that, especially in the happy voice.
Yes.
Nobody expects that in the baby
Which is very similar to Mama Fratelli's voice for sure. All right, we're just joking around because for you guys on the stream don't hear it, we have movie rejoins and we had something from the Goonies.
I've been casting the Goonies reboot.
All right, you'd have to wear a dress probably, but that's fine.
It'll make it worse.
Yes, it would. It absolutely would.
Happy would rock the dress.
he
Oh,
would.
yeah, it
He would. Try not to show too much leg.
That
Anyway,
reminds me of my toga days when I was partying with Socrates.
yeah,
Shame he got poisoned in his ear.
big time party guy there, Socrates.
I shouldn't have dropped it.
Yeah, you should not have. Anyway, all right, let's get to trying to get to our last two entries into R64. The game bracket starts next week, but technically it starts this week with the play-in. All right, first round, the top round, the left side of the bracket, whatever you want to call about, is done. Now it's time to move on. All right, the next. And by the way, when I pass it on to these guys to describe the games, I am sick. So the least amount of talking I can do, the better. So if my handoffs aren't exactly perfect today,
I realized
apologize.
that
Yeah.
after you did it for like
Yeah,
the third time.
I am not. I would never try to make you look bad on the air unless it was funny. And then I would apologize later. All right, the first game is XCOM, and I've got to admit that I know nothing about XCOM. Cameron, what is XCOM?
XCOM is another real-time strategy game. It's more on the lines of
It's not a
grid-
real time. It's a turn-based. It's a turn
Oh, yeah, I'm being-
grid-based strategy game.
Excuse you for being correct. Anyway, but
You can't
Matthews,
do that without long hair, man.
No,
it
but
doesn't work.
I used to have long hair.
You
Okay.
you were beaming it up pretty badly.
All right.
Well,
earlier.
not. I wasn't referring to that. I meant like in middle and high school.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
You were part of the long hair crew. What
Mhm.
happened?
Was it a mullet?
It's
you
a,
give
it's
up
a pain
freedom?
to deal with.
please
That's
tell
what happened.
please tell me it was a mullet.
No, it was not.
So disappointed. All right, Cameron, XCOM.
All right, XCOM. Essentially, you're fighting against aliens. One is you're fighting against the aliens that are invading, correct?
Yes.
Two, the aliens took over and things are bad, and you're doing guerrilla warfare against the aliens, trying to get them out. You have all sorts of different soldier classes and stuff. The main thing with XCOM is it's kind of difficult.
That's kind of what it's known for.
Yeah, it's a difficult kind of game, and you're going to lose people in a lot of different cases. I really love the War of the Chosen DLC because it added some extra things to it, like 3 extra classes. I really like the psionics guys. There's all sorts of different ways to play. There's some terrifying enemies when you see them. It's just like, oh god, it's a berserker. I don't want to deal with this. Long range. All right, how many sniper bullets do I have? Oh crap, he's got to reload. It's a lot of fun and
Oh.
it's a lot of strategizing.
All right. It's going up against Kirby, so we're gonna let the Nintendo guy explain Kirby.
So Kirby is another one of Nintendo's super classic or IPs. A platformer that's much not unlike XCOM that is known for its difficulty. Kirby is known for being a very casual and super fun and enjoyable experience that anyone can jump into and have a good time with. So the whole idea with it is Kirby is just a little fun, little cute, little puffball who can devour enemies and consume them and absorb their powers. He is an eldritch horror who destroys more abominable eldritch horrors and gods, and it's all just a fun little, cute little time, isn't it?
It's a fun Lovecraftian horror.
It's Majin Buu without the anger.
Yeah, but it is a super fun classic time platformer that is holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts.
Hey, I thought it was an apt description.
It was.
I don't care if the
was.
room may not.
I'm sorry
think
we didn't
so.
give you the
Okay,
pop you
all right,
deserved.
well, I got that. I
I'm
got that
sure-
earlier this week. All right, Cameron, who you voting for?
I gotta go with XCOM.
All right, Matthew.
I am absolutely on the side of Kirby here.
All right,
Lines are drawn.
because Kirby is actually Majin Buu without the anger. I'm going with Kirby. All right, the next matchup is Xenoblade versus Phoenix Wright.
Oh, did we skip over one?
Objection.
We did. You're right. Thank you for the help. All right, the next match is Tekken versus Sly Cooper. All right, Tekken is a fighting game. It's been around for a really long time. The characters are really cool.
Kazuya Mishima.
Hayachi and
Yoshimitsu.
yeah, Yoshimitsu, which is my favorite character. And it has a story behind it too, which is not necessary, but it helps. There are some fighting games like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter that are already on the list.
I like Heihachi because he's literally just too angry to die.
Yes, he is. All right, so
I
that
like Panda because he's a panda.
that is Tekken going up against Sly Cooper. Matthew, tell us about Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper is another 3D platformer from the era right after that Banjo-Kazooie Donkey Kong original jump to 3D that kind of evolved a little bit past some of those initial steps. It's all about this anthropomorphic raccoon and his band of bandits just doing some Sly type stuff.
I thought you were
Doing
about to
some
say some Sly Coopering. I don't know if
some-
Coopering is a
I
verb for
couldn't. I don't
burgling.
think that's a word, so that's why I couldn't use it. But
Ooh.
uh-oh.
Continue.
We needed the
But
pause
it-
for gravity.
We did need the pause for gravity. For those of you on the stream, we had a little,
Yeah,
Small snafu.
but
all right. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way. There we go. I had to noob myself. I made a mistake. There you go. All right. Continue with your Sly Cooper.
But yeah, it's just another one of the 3D platformers. It's a fun one. It's not the most iconic one, but it's a solid one.
It's one of those that you'll recognize. You don't really know if
Exactly.
you've played it or not.
All right. So Cameron, who you got? Tekken or Sly Cooper? All right, I'm gonna
go with Tekken
Okay.
because I've had more experience with
All right. I'm gonna go ahead with Tekken also.
I'm also on the Tekken side
Whoa, is that like our first sweep? I think maybe possibly.
for tonight. Yeah,
All right. So there you go. Tekken goes through to the next round. All right.
I'd like to add one thing. Coopering is the traditional craft of making buckets, barrels, baths, and all forms of
yeah. There's
storage
nothing like that
containers.
in the game.
Yeah,
but
Also, I think it's really interesting. There was going to be a Sly Cooper movie, and it just disappeared. No updates. It was never officially canceled. It just disappeared. There was a trailer and everything.
it's in a vault. That's
well, at least they
operated by
didn't.
furries.
At least they didn't make the entire movie like Batgirl and go, yeah, that's not good enough. We're not releasing it. All right. The next matchup is Xenoblade versus Phoenix Wright. Matthew, what is Phoenix Wright?
Phoenix Wright is a super classic puzzle game, most known on, I believe it mostly releases on Nintendo platforms, but it is a third-party game from Capcom. Phoenix Wright is the name of the main character as well. He's a lawyer. It's a little supernatural stuff in there sometimes there isn't, but it's a super goofy anime lawyer comedy puzzle game kind of thing that is super beloved by a lot of people.
By the way, shout out to the text line people texting in their picks. You're getting in some practice for next week for when your picks will matter when there is a tie. All right, Cameron, do you know anything about Xenoblade?
I know it. I think it's classic JRPG, right?
It's not classic, actually. The first Xenoblade game, Xenoblade Chronicles, came out in 2011, I believe it was,
Really?
on the Nintendo Wii. Fantastic game. One of the best RPGs that I've ever had the privilege of playing. And it's been followed up by a couple games. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 came out last year. I believe it came out right around the time that I started started on the station, or not on the station, on this show. And because I remember bringing my Switch in when it came out, and there's some DLC that just got announced in the Nintendo Direct from earlier this week or last week. But it is a classic JRPG that has some it's a real-time kind of combat system thing that's really interesting and really cool, that's really complicated to go into, so I'm not going to try, but it's a super fun time, and I absolutely
Is it
recommend
more like
it.
a feel of like Final Fantasy 15?
No,
No?
it's
Different?
very different and much better.
All right.
Okay.
So who you got, Matthew?
Xenoblade.
All right, Cameron.
I'm gonna go with Xenoblade too. I'd like to go with Phoenix Wright for the meme, but you know.
I
Hold it.
haven't played either one, but I'm going with Xenoblade 2. It doesn't matter because it was already going through. All right, in our final matchup, then we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and we're going to finish this thing up. Jak and Daxter versus Dishonored. Jak and Daxter is a fun platformer kind of game. Lots of comedy that goes into the thing. I really enjoyed the game. It's been a while since I played it, but it's along the lines of the same sort of thing and what we've been talking about. Some of the other
It's
games.
in the same generation as like Sly
Some of
Cooper
those
and all
3D
that.
Banjo-Kazooie and some of those. And then there's Dishonored. Cameron, tell us about Dishonored.
Oh, Dishonored is a game by Arcane, the same guys who made Thief. This is mostly a stealth-based kind of game. You make a deal with a eldritch
Kind of the
entity,
devil?
kind of the devil, to get arcane powers to be able to deal with the people who wronged you in either game. Including one of the best notes that was never really talked about all that much is you're given a heart that can point you to different things. In the first game, it's actually the Empress's heart.
Yep.
So there's a lot of
Refashioned.
there's already all sorts of deep lore and all that other stuff in Dishonored. The combat's great. There's also a morality system where if you kill more people, you make everything worse.
All right, so Jak and Daxter versus Dishonored. Lonzo don't do stealth, so I'm going with Jak and Daxter. Matthew.
Dishonored used to be one of my favorite games. It's still up there. There's a lot of things that have surpassed it, but I still definitely have a special place in my heart for that series. So I'm going with that.
I am also going with Dishonored, even though I did love Jak and Daxter when I was a kid.
All right, our next round is complete. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and finish this up and then try to get to some other things. You're listening to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WORD, continuing live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook.
I got the achievement for nobody seeing me ever in the entire game. I got the ghost one. I got the no killing one. I got all of that in Dishonored 1.
Well, one of the best parts about, depending on who wins, gets into the last two, I'm not going to have to hand off as much in the other ones because I know just about all the other games. But I knew there was some in here I didn't know.
I know this is going to be a lot of inside baseball with what I'm about to say, but a lot of the platformers and stuff, you probably should have switched over to him. I know you had a lot of faith in me that I knew, but I probably could have just supported Matthew.
So when things are past, you don't bring them back up.
Yeah.
You let them go. You don't revisit. You let them go.
You don't hold on tight
And
onto
you
the
and
rope
I,
until you...
you and I will be traveling together as we go home. And you can bring this up then.
So I want to show one of my favorite Kirby bosses from Kirby Dream Land. So this little guy, he is adorable. You know, just a cute little guy, just chilling.
I know him from Smash Brothers. Yes.
I like when he splits himself in half and creates a black hole.
Yeah. So he does that. You've seen that in Ultimate, right? He does the same thing in Ultimate.
Yeah, I forgot that he was in Ultimate because I don't play with assist trophies and stuff usually because I'm in that competitive scene. So.
Gotcha. You're on that PvP stuff.
But yeah, that's right. He was a boss in Ultimate. I forgot about that.
Yes.
I played the story for it when it came out in 2019, and I haven't touched it since.
And I was playing it, and I I looked at it, I was like, oh, what is this guy gonna? Oh my god!
Yep, and that is Kirby. That is every final boss in
What
Kirby.
is that unholy abomination? It must be slain for the good of the universe.
Oh my god.
By the way, I'd also like to point out that the reason my dad went with Kirby is because he made a really fun
Yeah,
joke
because he
about
made a
it.
funny joke. I respect it.
He
I
believed in his joke so much he voted for Kirby.
I respect it and I appreciate it.
Sometimes it's all it takes in the bracket.
I used
Texter
to
says, can't believe Kirby beat XCOM. Come on, y'all.
No.
That hate, that pain you feel is going to be intensified by so many degrees in the next
Kirby
few weeks.
absolutely deserved to win that. I have so
Did
many.
he?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, but that's your opinion, man.
Yeah, but that's like a fact, man.
Then there was silence as if the final words had been spoken.
It would basically just be like, but no, XCOM's better. It would just turn into that, and that's
Oh,
just
yeah.
useless.
That basically describes the show, so I don't know why that's a problem.
A valid point, my sir.
Look, Cameron, it's the XFL.
The what?
Oh, The Rock owns that.
He does.
Why aren't they doing anything?
The
There we go.
kickoffs are different in the XFL.
That is weird.
Yeah, look to see that kind of happen in the NFL eventually,
Really?
because they're trying to cut down on
Gotcha.
concussions and stuff from kickoffs.
Because that definitely is an increased risk when you're running down the field.
They can't move till the guy catches the ball.
The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing, and they don't.
That's us, dude. Oh, yeah.
It's the Upstate Pulse on 106.3 WORD.
Welcome back into the Upstate Pulse. Alonzo here along with Matthew and Cameron. We are in the midst of trying to get down to 2 on our video game play-in brackets. Once we do, the field of 64 will be set, and then I'll have an entire week to put together the bracket that will most likely make a lot of people mad. But that's if you have a strong candidate that's in the running, good luck to you. Good luck to you. Because in this, I have no idea who's going to win. In past, this will be our 8th one. In the past, it was kind of easy to go, okay, this is 1 and 2 probably. And usually it will end up that.
It was a lot easier to figure out who the front runners were.
This is more difficult.
It should also be a lot more fun too.
I think so.
We'll see. We'll see. I hope that there's a lot of division and anger and disappointment, because that's what this thing's all about. All that. Speaking of which, let's get to the next round. In the next round, we don't need to describe the games anymore because we've already done that, and we did that on this very show. So you can give your reason why, but you don't have to go into in depth about the game. All right, the first matchup is Pikmin versus Cuphead. I'm going to go first, and I'm going to vote for Pikmin because Cuphead's just too weird for me. All right, Matthew.
I love both, but I think Cuphead squeezes out a bit more.
All right, Cameron.
I'm going to go with Pikmin.
All right, so there you go. Pikmin has defeated Cuphead, and
I'm kind
Matthew
of surprised, honestly. I thought Cuphead would make it out on that side.
Matthew
It was a narrow margin.
gets disappointed right away. All right, Portal versus Total War. Cameron, who you got?
I got Total War.
All right, Matthew.
I'm all the way on Portal.
All right, and I'm going with Total War because
Gosh, that's such a biased take.
Yes, that's the whole point. That is the whole point. This is not what's the better game. It's what's your favorite. So you're going to pick the one you like the most out of the two. Things are just not fair, just like life. All right, the next matchup is Kirby versus Tekken. I really do like Kirby.
Hey, look at the curb.
Yeah, no, Kerbin. If you go down to the cells pit, you turn left, and then you turn right. Kerbin is the guy and on the left side in that cube. He's a big sales guy for us. Makes us a lot of money. So,
is that a
love
real
Kerbin.
person?
Absolutely, is not a real person.
Okay.
All right, so Kirby versus
You sold
Tekken.
that so well.
That's
I
what
was so invested into the story of Kerbin.
I could have went in depth into that he's married, he has 2 children.
He loses
They're
a stapler
twins.
on occasion.
No, it gets stolen by the guy named Matt. Interesting enough, on the other side of his cube, who is more like a kinder than people know. All right, so I can talk for 25 minutes on Kerbin. And but we don't have time for that because we only got 20 minutes left in the show. All right, Kirby versus Tekken. I'm gonna go with Tekken. Tekken is probably my favorite non-DBZ game. I didn't add any DBZ games.
Oh,
It's too late. It's too late. It's too late.
I love DBZ games, but I don't think they compare to a lot of the top of gaming.
I don't
That's
know.
why I didn't put it.
I don't
in my
know. It
list.
hurts me and him that I did. You didn't come up with it
I
either.
did Kai Tenkaichi 3, but it objectively doesn't hold up to a lot of the other things on this list.
All right. So
What do
anyway,
you mean by
Tekken is one of my
your
favorite.
objective is subjective?
Out of all the fighting games, Tekken is my favorite. So I'm going with Tekken over Kirby. Matthew, who you got?
I got Kirby. I love that little Eldritch abomination.
I'm gonna go with Tekken.
Oh,
All right,
my
so
gosh.
now he's knowing this is not a father-son team up, by the way.
Oh no,
Even though it may
this
seem
is
that way.
I'm the only person who knows anything about Nintendo.
That's pretty much it.
a lot of it
Yeah.
does come to knowledge.
It
If
really
somebody
does.
knows more about a game, they'll probably tend to go with that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I played a lot of Tekken, especially the early on. So I really like Tekken.
No, I get the Tekken. They're both fantastic games, and I'm
All
happy
right.
with either going on.
Xenoblade versus Dishonored. Matthew, who you got?
I love both, but I got to go with Xenoblade. It, like I said, one of my absolute favorite JRPGs I've ever played.
All right, Cameron.
Dishonored.
All right, as I mentioned before, Lonzo don't do stealth. Xenoblade makes it through. So now Cameron gets a taste of the disappointment. Look at it, relish it, enjoy it. All right.
Disappointment is for those who aren't anticipating it.
All right. So now what we're going to do, we're going to crown our last 2. And we're going to know these are the last 2 to make it into the team of 64. Next week, we go full on with this thing. Our first matchup, Pikmin versus Total War. Got to tell you, didn't expect either one of these guys to be these last 2.
Neither
And as
did
we
I.
know, Matthew didn't either. Matthew, you go first. Pikmin or Total
haven't
War?
really played much of Total War, so I got to go with Pikmin.
All right, Cameron.
I want to go with Total War. The superior strategy game.
he adds at the end. I haven't played a lot of either game. So wow, how do I make this pick?
You've played more Total War.
I have. Listen to him trying to influence the vote. This is some other things that you get to experience.
But with you, it can always backfire.
And it did. Pikmin goes through.
Dang it!
You shouldn't have added that. He gave him a joke.
I know. He's always going to go for the joke.
I am. All right. Finally, Tekken versus Xenoblade.
Tekken.
I already know that you're both going to go for Tekken since you know it's love it so much. Unfortunately,
See, he's
'Cause
trying to do reverse
I'm
psychology
absolutely
here.
on Xenoblade.
Oh, it's
I
not. It's
think
not
it's-
going to work this time.
Again, no, I know it's
Yeah.
not. He literally has said it's one of his favorite games of all time. Like, I know that he's going to vote for it. So it's unfortunate to say goodbye to Xenoblade. I think it deserved to be on the list. But I guess that's just how it goes.
All right. If you're watching on stream, you're wondering why I'm looking outside. There are 2 cars parked around my car with their lights on, and maybe they're just visiting. It's just
I
a
ain't
concern.
got your money.
Yeah. Anyway, so the entrant number 63 and 64 are Pikmin and Tekken. All right, let's go around the room. Is there a chance that either one of these games makes it all the way through and wins the whole thing, Matthew? Cameron,
No.
I will tell you that I think Tekken has a shot. I
don't think it holds up to some of the other classic fighting games that's on the list.
Well, depending on what it's up against, which I don't know yet because I haven't done it yet. Depending on what it's up against, I think it may have a shot at least to make it out of the next round.
I think it'll make it out of round 1. I don't think it'll make it out of. It's a 50-50 on round 2. It won't make it out of
It
round
might
3.
have a target on its back.
It might. See, that's what happens.
No, I want to be as objective as I can with most of these.
You'll be the only one in the room doing
Yes,
that.
you're doing
I just
this
want you to
wrong.
know that.
Integrity is not the name of the game.
No, pick your favorite game, but if you can hurt someone, do that too. That's just
That's the whole reason why he went
So-
against Total War.
so if it comes down to, okay, I really like this game, but my favorite's somewhere else, but this is gonna hurt that guy, take out your own favorite game. If it comes down to a tie, it's out of your hands. So just there is
But if it,
I'm not going to say there's so much depth into this thing, but it is a game for the people in the room as well as the people
Oh, yeah.
listening. It is. I have in my mind what I want to win. I'm willing to go through some things to try to get that to win. Are you willing to do that too?
And the other thing is, while you're describing things to somebody, you have to also gauge their mood and realize that, oh, wait, they're sick. They're a little bit more cranky
Yeah,
today.
I know what I want to see win, and I think it has a really good shot because I think that we all are the kind of people that like the game that I'm thinking of.
All right, so here's the thing. You don't want to give it away. This is a game of poker in this room.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of looking at faces, looking at tells, trying to figure out what someone's going to do, learn how to fake your tells.
Carry my, oh, won't you something my poker face?
Yeah, don't insert whatever you're thinking of
Yeah,
into something.
I don't remember what the,
because that could be just about anything, and some of it's probably
don't
not a
do
good
things
idea.
to my poker face.
All right, we got a couple more minutes before we take our final break. I'm going to jump into something else really quick. We all have watched a video game trailer about the making of a video game. One of the last time I checked, although someone said last week that it had been surpassed, but if it's not one, it's number 2, and that would be Tetris as the most sold game of all time. In the Tetris trailer, there's a guy who wants to make Tetris the game because he's just so fascinated by it, and including he gets shown. If you watch the trailer, he gets shown the prototype of the first Game Boy, and he wants to put Tetris with Game Boy, which, by the way, he did, and might be one of the reasons why Tetris got so popular. And yes, Tetris is going to be on the game list. What did you guys think about the trailer?
It looked okay. I mean, we'll have to see in theaters. I'm all for
I don't think, by the way, it's not going to be in theaters. It's only going to be on Apple TV.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's annoying.
I'll
I love drama thrillers, and if this has a solid plot to it, I'll love it. It looked a little goofy. It looked a little too Hollywood for me, for that kind of genre. The way that I
It is based on a
like
true
it.
story, though.
So yeah, but we'll see.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Because of that, I want to go read and see what the actual true story was, just to see what the actual history of it was, because it might be. I want to see if it's as outlandish as the movie.
All right.
I like doing those comparisons.
Texter says, "Okay, brother, I get it. It's all good. It is okay. So now you get it. You get how the game is played, and this is how the game has been played since the beginning. I will tell you, the very first one, I didn't have to explain it. We just knew.
Yeah,
we just knew as far as the bracket goes because we all looked around the room and we knew what we were going to do. What will be the they live moment of this bracket? The they live moment, by the way, if you don't know, they live was going up against Matrix. It went to a tie, and they live beat Matrix, and Chris left the room because he was so mad.
he was so angry.
And
Wow.
by the way, some of it was an act, some of it was not, because he still brings it up. And then the worst part about it, about a year later or a couple years later, we did a thing called Nerd Confessions, and Patrick confessed that he had never seen They Live. And that made Chris leave the room again.
Also, the funniest thing, I think the weirdest thing out of all of that was you didn't realize that when he voted for it.
I didn't know.
There was
I didn't
an
know.
unspoken rivalry between Chris and Patrick at the time. They would butt heads constantly. They were still friends, but they would butt heads constantly about things. They were on one side or the other side of nerdy issues.
Mhm.
This is one of those things. If Patrick saw a prime opportunity to mess with Chris,
Yeah.
And here's
and he
the
took it.
here's the reason why I didn't see it. I love both movies, but 3 out of the 4 of us were wrestling fans, and it stars Roddy Piper. And and Zach and I were just so into Pick and They Live, and you could see Chris's face. You could see it starting to turn into something, and then Patrick took the next step. And no, I didn't realize that he hadn't seen the movie. The fact that he was picking it, still, it was great.
This was a specifically like a best movies thing, right?
It was sci-fi fantasy, I think.
This is my my big geeky nerd hot take. I don't like The Matrix. I think it's a pretty mid series.
Well, I disagree with you. I really like The Matrix. I picked They Live because Chris wanted Matrix.
Where did
to
you
win.
pick up that phrasing, by the way? I'm just
Mid?
curious. Mid.
That's just an online thing.
Yeah, you know where it comes from? It comes from wrestling.
Nice.
As long as see, some people, Matthew wasn't immediately offended because there are some people who think, I am not a wrestling fan.
Well,
I
Matthew-
never
They all
use.
different phrases come from literally everywhere.
Yeah, and
So,
a
like,
lot of it
yeah.
is pop culture, and so is wrestling. Wrestling is pop culture.
Matthew is an open-minded gentleman.
no, there's plenty of phrases out there that come from
And,
wrestling.
and see,
Yeah.
see, Mark on the stream remembers this. He said Chris shouldn't have mocked wrestling fans and Roddy Piper. That's why I cast that vote for They Live. So,
See, spite is a wonderful motivator in life in general.
by the way,
but also in bracket.
how it got to a tie is I did vote for Matrix. It had to get to a tie, so I had to vote for Matrix. Chris
Ah,
had to vote for Matrix. Zach and Patrick would have had to vote for They Live.
Yeah.
But I was not as devastated and angry when it happened. I had my own at some point something got eliminated that made me mad. That's how.
Tim did last year with Sephiroth getting beat by Handsome Jack.
Yeah, he was not happy. He was not happy, and that was our villains bracket. But in
he
our
can be as mad as he wants. The better villain one.
yeah, so in our villains bracket we had different
Pretzels still
categories.
suck.
We had video games, we had animated, we had movies, and we had TV. So we had all these different brackets of villains.
Oh yeah.
And that's how that happened. He was not, who the most angry person we've ever had do things other than Chris in that moment in the bracket is Rob Brown from the Rob Brown Show, who wants to be on some during this time because almost every time he picks something, it doesn't win.
Oh no.
Mhm.
Yes. And it's become a thing. And I think it's become it really is. He's got a complex.
It's like the Will Wheaton dice curse.
Yeah, he's got a complex. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna hit the lightning round. You listen to the Upstate Pulse right here on 106.3 WRD, continuing live on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. See, the problem or the great thing with Chris is he's such a good actor. We'll never know if it really bothered him or not. And he's not going to say if it was all an
He'll
act.
keep it a mystery forever.
And I respect that.
Southerly winds. Southerly winds. I'm sorry, that was a little loud.
I'm still surprised that Pikmin made it out of.
That's the thing. Forget all you think you know. Things are going to happen that you won't expect.
Yeah, like Pikmin's a good series, but Cuphead and Portal, I definitely thought were the forefronts there.
The other thing is, just because you have your mind set on what you believe is going to be going forward, other people will have opposite and all that stuff, as you've seen.
Oh yeah,
We've played through the tutorial level.
the tutorial level where I discovered that Lonzo thinks rubber hose animation is terrifying.
Yes, that was genuine. You've never been in my nightmares, nor do you ever want to be.
Hey, at least you weren't like tortured by an extra dimensional sock puppet named Replacement Jimmy.
Yeah. Ugh. That is interesting.
Remember, I want to get out of here as fast as possible.
I know.
Okay, just letting you know.
So I'm going to save that story for another time. because there's a lot to unpack there, including
dear.
including the puppet unpacked himself. Apparently,
Oh, okay.
it was one of those things. If I woke up and I just said, "What is wrong with me?" Also, it was hilarious, but
That was a longer break than I thought. That's cool though. That means less lightning.
only a few bolts.
Well, there's always only 2.
You make a good point on that. It's kind of the whole bit.
I am smart,
Hey,
kind of.
you made it.
Not yet.
We got 4 minutes or something. If you end up having like a 3-minute coughing fit, we got this.
Don't you put that on me.
I'm not putting anything
Put
on
that
you.
on me. Don't you put that on me.
There's no such thing as luck.
Make sure I remember to see what time Tim needs to be in, because I might forget.
I am your aide after all.
I mean, I can look it up at home, but I don't want to. It's hanging up in the hallway.
Nobody reads things. If I've learned anything in my adult life, is nobody reads any
Hey,
signs ever.
I read like half of an email usually, and that's what.
and
gets
that's
me.
better than most people.
Yeah, but usually the thing I need to know is in the second half.
That's why I don't post things. That's why I don't write things in emails. I just send attachments.
Can only
and just
strike
give up.
twice so many times.
All right, it is time for lightning round, where I try to squeeze in as many things as we possibly can. There's going to be a One Piece DBZ crossover. Apparently, it happened in One Piece. I had no idea about it, but I saw it, and it's going to happen on Toonami coming up on March 4th. Fully dubbed crossover between One Piece and DBZ. You in for that, Matthew?
I think that I heard about it before.
I'm gonna let it go because I don't have time.
Yeah, I think I heard about it before.
Who's doing
That
what?
it was in Japan and that we just never got it dubbed over here. So I'm excited to see it. I think it'll be a cool time.
So am I. There's no guarantee that
Zoro and Vegeta just argues like, "Why do you sound like me?"
I
Yeah.
doubt it'll be like objectively good, but I'm sure it'll be a fun little time.
I don't know.
You keep using that word. I don't think you know what that word.
No,
means.
I think it really comes down to the thing that everyone wants to see is Goku versus Luffy. I doubt that happens. And it's actually a One Piece episode. So the advantage more than likely, although Luffy's been beat before. So, I mean, I've
He's
seen,
got steam coming out of his head, and his eyes are rolled back again.
well, it's episode 579, I think. So there's, I can't,
Is that post times? I'm not sure about the anime episodes. I only know from the manga chapters.
I don't know if they took the 2 years off for training or not.
Yeah.
If they haven't, then Luffy might get his butt kicked. We'll see. We'll see.
There's a different power magnitude there.
There's a general power magnitude difference in the series, the two series, but it's a One Piece episode. It's going to be a goofy fun time.
All right.
Yeah.
Remember last week we talked about the Wienermobile getting the catalytic converter stolen. Well, PETA has reached out to Oscar Mayer and offered to replace the catalytic converter and take care of the Wienermobile for a year if they would change it to it's a dumb name. I got to find it. To the Vegan Mobile.
Oh my god, I was about to say the vegan mobile.
And
I know
Only
somebody
they
that would
would-
love that.
yeah, well, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I hope they don't.
All right. Shout out to our sponsor, Borderlands Comics and Games. Shout out to everyone who were participating on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and the text line. We will be back next week. And next week, the tournament really starts. The 64. There can be only one. Who will it be? Who will win the whole thing of the Upstate Pulse video game bracket? Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I know a particular orc that would love that.
All right. Say goodbye, Matthew.
Goodbye, Matthew.
Say goodbye, Cameron.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See ya.
Am I supposed to press